Welcome to Football Frenzy. Newcastle striker Alexander Isak dented Arsenal's title hopes as his bullet header condemned them to a second Premier League defeat of the season. The Sweden international converted Anthony Gordon's inviting 12th-minute cross, with aplomb to claim his third goal in as many games and hand the Magpies a 1-0 win in front of a crowd of 52,249 at St. James Park. 3 points were just reward for a committed display which kept the Gunners at bay despite the wealth of possession they enjoyed, and provided further proof that Eddie Howe's men, for whom full-backs Luis Hall and Tino Livramento were outstanding, are emerging from the patchy form which characterized their early season performances. Arsenal counterpart Mikel Arteta will have been happy with much of what he saw ahead of Wednesday night's Champions League trip to Inter Milan, but a lack of incision and pace in his team's play ultimately cost them dearly. The Gunners, who lost on Tyneside in controversial circumstances last season, set off as if they meant business, with Leandro Trossard dragging a second-minute shot wide of Nick Pope's goal, and former Magpie Mikel Merino was spectacularly wayward with an ambitious 7th-minute volley. Bukayo Saka dragged an 11th-minute attempt wide of the near post after Jurrien Timber had been allowed to control keeper David Raya's long ball straight down the middle, but the momentum shifted dramatically within seconds. Please like, share and subscribe to my channel, thanks. Gordon, lining up on the right of the front three, rather than his preferred left, cross first time when presented with the opportunity to do so, and Isak rose between central defenders William Saliba and Gabriel to head firmly past Raya. Saka headed wide under pressure from Hall, but Newcastle were easing their way into the game and enjoyed a sustained period of pressure which ended when Bruno Guimaraes' shot was deflected into Raya's arms. Gordon saw a 24th-minute cross fly dangerously across goal after running onto Joe Willock's fine ball around the corner, but Fabian Hurzeler had to hack away Thomas Partey's ball from in front of his own goal as Arsenal responded. Hurzeler and Hall combined to block Merino's shot after Saliba had headed down the resulting 27th-minute corner with the temperature and already competitive encounter rising all the time. Arsenal old boy Willock almost returned to haunt his former club when he exchanged passes with Gordon before forcing a save from Raya within seconds of the restart. But with both sides careless in possession, the game became increasingly scrappy. The visitors continued to enjoy a greater share of the possession, but lacked the penetration to hurt the Magpies, and Willock might have doubled their advantage with 58 minutes gone when he fired over after being played in by Joelinton. Raya had to beat away Isak's dipping 64th-minute strike, but Pope was relieved to see Declan Rice's shot deflected wide of his far post by Hurzeler, with the visitors redoubling their efforts. Hall made a vital 68th-minute block after Trossard had stabbed Rice's corner back across goal, and Joelinton planted an 87th-minute header into Raya's grasp, but it was Rice to whom the final chance fell for minutes into stoppage time, only for him to head Saka's far post cross wide. If Arsenal continues like this, I don't think they can contend for the title this season. Manchester City surrendered top spot in the Premier League after falling to a surprise 2-1 defeat to Bournemouth at Vitality Stadium. Antoine Semenyo spanned and tucked a superb finish into the bottom corner to make the breakthrough for the hosts inside the opening 10 minutes. City then found themselves trailing by 2 goals shortly after the hour mark when Evanilson slid to prod Milos Kerkez's searching cross beyond the rooted Ederson. The defeat dropped City to second spot, 2 points behind Liverpool, who recovered to beat Brighton and Hove Albion 2-1. I don't know what would have happened. I would like to tell you if these players weren't injured, we would have won, but nobody knows, Guardiola told reporters. The guys give everything, but not enough to compete against that team in that moment. City's loss came on the heels of a midweek defeat at Tottenham Hotspur in the League Cup 4th round. Guardiola said his team paid the price for a lack of intensity as Bournemouth won through goals from Antoine Semenyo and Evanilson. We couldn't match up to the intensity, he said. All the situations with the long balls, we couldn't win it, and when you don't win these types of balls to Semenyo and others, our central defenders and strikers have to defend deeper. We have players with rhythm and the other players have a lack of rhythm because we could not train due to injuries, but we knew it. On Friday, Guardiola said he had urged his stars to play through pain like Rafael Nadal and feared he might have only 11 senior players fit to feature in the Bournemouth game. City were already missing Jack Grealish, Rodri and Oscar Bob, and in his pre-game interview Guardiola said Ruben Dias and John Stones were also rolled out for a little bit of long time. Captain Kyle Walker was one of several players who had not been expected to feature on Saturday but started, while Kevin De Bruyne was back on the bench after a lengthy injury layoff. Kyle in 16 days didn't train one session with us. Made an incredible effort, Guardiola said, adding that several other players had niggles. But it's not just about that, the City boss added. Bournemouth were difficult to play in the first half, The second half we were much better, Walker said. If City had been fortunate enough to have more healthy bodies, several ailing players might have been rested. Probably ideally, but we're not in that position, he said. We don't use that as an excuse. You have to give full credit to Bournemouth. City have little time to recover as they head to Lisbon to play Sporting in the Champions League on Tuesday. It's the schedule that we've been dealt. No excuses, Walker added. Bournemouth's victory was their first over City in the South Coast club's history and had Cherries fans at the Vitality Stadium cheekily chanting, "Can we play you every week?" I'm very pleased. One thing is to beat City but another is to play better, Bournemouth manager Andoni Iraola said. We played with no fear, tried to press when we could and defend when we had to. Please, like, share and subscribe to me channel, thanks. You know you have to be at your best level to beat a top team and wait for them to not have their best day. A sensational trademark strike from Mohamed Salah earned Liverpool a 2-1 comeback victory over Brighton on Saturday, a win that moved Arne Slot's team to points clear at the top of the Premier League. Brighton started brightly on an Anfield ground, where they have a good recent record, taking a deserved lead in the 14th minute after Turkey international Ferdi Kadioglu rifled a stunning effort into the far corner. Liverpool struggled to create any openings of note in the first half but came flying out the traps after the break, dragging themselves level in the 69th minute through Cody Gakpo, before Salah completed the turnaround 3 minutes later. With their two main title rivals, Arsenal and Manchester City, both losing, Liverpool overtook the champions to climb to the summit, 6 clear of Nottingham Forest in third and 7 ahead of Arsenal. I was waiting for us to score the goal but we didn't. That's why I made the substitutions, Slot said. Both of them, Curtis Jones and Luis Diaz, came on really strong. The second goal was a Mo Salah special. It's not the first and not the last time he will score from that position. Today we faced the same quality and idea about football, and both times we had to come from behind to get a result. That is what makes my day. Brighton have become Liverpool's Premier League nemesis in recent years, with Slot's side having won 2 of their last 8 meetings coming into Saturday's clash. Outperforming expectations again this season, Brighton showed no fear early on at Anfield, having the better of the opening exchanges. A superb solo run and shot from Darwin Núñez lifted the home crowd, but Kadioglu's first ever Premier League goal silenced a famous cop end, a sensational strike for a player who normally operates as a left back. A fine stop from Colwyn Kelleher in the much busier Liverpool goal to deny Jorginho Rutter kept Brighton from extending their first half lead, while the hosts could barely string 2 passes together. Liverpool were much improved after the break, with Virgil van Dijk and Salah wasting golden opportunities to level early in the second half. Brighton could not cope with wave after wave of Liverpool attacks, with Gakpo's cross that evaded everyone and ended up in the net breaking their resistance. The goal that won it and nearly lifted the roof off Anfield, however, is the type of shot Liverpool supporters have seen many times before, as Salah cut inside onto his left foot and curled a sumptuous strike into the net. The Egyptian is now outright 8th in the Premier League's all-time top goalscorer list, with his goals remaining as crucial as ever to Liverpool's title charge. There was a big chance today, Brighton boss Fabian Hurzeler said. If we score the second goal, or we could have even got a third or fourth, in the first half, then it is a different game. Then of course they have individual quality. They scored out of nowhere with a cross. They scored with a shot from outside the box. In this league there are top quality players. Striker Harry Kane scored twice as Bundesliga leaders Bayern Munich eased past visitors Union Berlin 3-0 on Saturday to provisionally open up a 3-point gap at the top. The Bavarians won their 3rd straight league game without conceding a goal in a near-flawless dress rehearsal ahead of Wednesday's Champions League game in Munich against Benfica. While Vincent Kompany's team are undefeated in the league, they have lost 2 of their 3 Champions League matches so far and are desperate for a win over Benfica to boost their chances of advancing to the next round of the competition. Bayern opened their account with a 15th-minute penalty by England captain Kane before Kingsley Coman curled a shot past keeper Frederic Rano to make it 2-0 2 minutes before the break. Union had no effort on goal in the entire first half and were constantly on the back foot, struggling with Bayern's pace and intensity, with the host having close to 80% possession at times. Union, who dropped to 6th on 15 points, could do nothing to stop Kane from stabbing in his second goal of the afternoon from close range 6 minutes after the restart. Kane, who also scored a hat-trick against VfB Stuttgart 2 weeks ago in the Bundesliga, came close to another one late in the game with a low drive. He now has 11 league goals this season to top the scorers list. It's fantastic. Every game we dominate. Not only with the ball but also without the ball with our pressing, Kane told reporters. We managed to keep another clean sheet today, which is great. Everyone is hungry. There's still a long way to go, but if we keep going like this we'll be okay. It was a really good performance from us. It wasn't easy, but it was a home game and people expect us to win here. Eager to reclaim domestic dominance after last season's double by Bayer Leverkusen, Bayern have now scored 32 goals and conceded 7 in 9 league games. They are top on 23 points, 3 ahead of second-placed RB Leipzig, who take on Borussia Dortmund later on Saturday. Eintracht Frankfurt moved up to third place on 17 following their 7-2 demolition of VfL Bochum.